As this time happened, I was a massive wreck. Couldn't think straight, and
because I was sad, because I was going through things, I took it out on somebody else, and that's why you shouldn't be mean to me.
if you know me, in Austin, Texas, I drive fast everywhere. I drive fast literally everywhere.
As for the SA allegation,
What kind of response was that? I drive fast. Anyone who knows me, I drive fast. Oh, we're watching one of the most cancelable streamers ever. You guys want to watch this? We have the Mizkif files. Now, this is something I'm interested in. All right, canceled streamer.
Mizkif is currently experiencing one of the most destructive downfalls in Twitch history. And from everything that's come out so far, there's nothing he can realistically say or do to salvage his reputation.
Not really a downfall,
I'm
but more
ashamed
of a
that the
criminal.
situations got so bad, but Emmy was also violent. She would throw clothes or plushies at me.
She threw her plushies. She was violent. This in the same sentence is so funny to me.
She would throw clothes or plushies at me, and I punched holes in the walls or slammed doors in aggression.
Oh, throwing clothes, plushies, violent. Meanwhile, I punched holes in the walls and slammed doors.
Allegations from his ex-girlfriend and popular
Yo, what a
streamer
dumbass.
Emiru include everything from mental and physical abuse to him threatening self-assassination as a form of emotional manipulation. And that's not even close to the worst things she's exposed about him.
I'm finally going to be opening up
Oh,
about
yikes. I feel so bad
the
for her.
psychological and domestic stalking and sexual assault and threats of blackmail that Mizkif has done towards me, and some of these issues which are still ongoing.
Hi, I'm the Internet Anarchist. I create weekly
This is the guy
YouTube
reacting to.
documentaries, and today we'll be analyzing the many allegations Emiru brought up against Mizkif.
I will say, if you ever see a clip of that guy, Mizkif, I'm telling you right now, that whenever he's with a girl, he is toxic. Like, blatantly. He doesn't hide it. And for so many years, no one talked about it.
The proof people on the internet
Like,
to
every
dug
clip
up,
of him is
and
so
his
bad.
questionable
I was like,
response to the
dang.
whole situation. The situation is still developing with new details coming out every day, so hit the subscribe button to stay up to date, and let's get on with the video. For those who don't know, both Mizkif and Emiru are some of the biggest streamers on Twitch, with
Yes,
Emiru
sir.
averaging nearly 19,000 viewers, while Miz streams
That's
to an
more than me.
audience of over 14,000 on the regular. It's also important to note that they lived in the same house and were part of the same organization called OTK, but until recently, the two never publicly admitted to being in a relationship with each other, though most of their fans already suspected as much, and even saw it as fairly cute and wholesome at times. However, while their relationship seemed like an open secret, no one could have expected the level of toxicity that was festering just below the surface. The
it was
bombshell
easy to
dropped
see.
on October 25th, 2025, when Emiru went live with a stream titled Talking About Some Things. Fans initially assumed that she was going to talk about the TwitchCon incident that happened just a few days earlier, where a deranged fan attacked her on stage in
This is
front
also
of
another
everyone.
terrible thing.
Emiru, however, came prepared with a different topic in mind.
Today, I'm finally going to be opening up about the psychological and domestic stalking and harassment, sexual assault, and threats of blackmail that Mizkif has done towards me, and some of these issues which are still ongoing.
She opened by publicly acknowledging the relationship between her and Mizkif.
I ended up joining the org and everything. We did a lot of streams together. And I mean, a lot of people already know this, but I'm just gonna come out and say it. We started dating. We were in a relationship starting January 2022.
While also clarifying her reasoning for why she was talking about it all now.
The first and probably most severe reason is that one of the rules that I set for myself a long time ago about withholding this information was that if I ever felt like somebody else was in danger or being hurt, I would then make myself speak about it. And 2 weeks ago, actually 3 weeks ago now, I was informed by 3 separate people, one of whom was present for said incident,
Oh, no.
that he had done something similar to something that he had done to me, and to someone in LA at the end of September. And this person is not a streamer or content creator, but obviously that does not matter. And because of this, I cannot in good conscience sit here knowing that I know critical information about someone that almost no one else does and not say anything.
However, while wanting to save others from the same treatment she endured for years,
I don't think you understand how like rough it is to talk about real problems on streams. Even worse when you're a bigger streamer. There is a huge mix of like lack of empathy, a lot of people who like to joke about things that are serious, and people who will use this for the rest of your life if you bring light to things. And this is what will stick to you as long as you do Twitch or YouTube.
Large part of it wasn't her only reason. As it turned out, Mizkif had been threatening her with a smear campaign against her ever since their relationship fell apart earlier this year. According to Emiru, he even went as far as approaching other creators who were close with the two and asked them to join his side. And when none of them agreed to slander Emiru on his behalf, he went into full supervillain mode and resorted to more direct threats.
At TwitchCon, he approached one of my employees, threatening them and saying if I ever talked about him, he would destroy me.
For Emiru, this was a step too far, forcing her to come forward with everything before Mizkif made his move and muddied the truth. And after providing the much needed context, Emiru continued with her first allegation against Mizkif, highlighting just how controlling he was in their relationship.
It's not a secret. I think everyone who paid attention knew that he was very controlling over what I wore, to a degree, who I was friends with, and even when I would stream.
This on its own is already a major red flag for many, but as Emiru described in her stream, this was only the beginning, and it wasn't long before things escalated to the point of physical abuse.
It was definitely slow over time that bad things started happening. At the start, it would be things like, for example, he would throw bottles, like plastic bottles with liquid in it, not like glass bottles, at me, despite me telling him like I didn't like it and it scared me and I bruise very easily. He would throw his phone at me. I would tell him, you know, it scared me, I don't like it. And one time it even hit me in the eye, which caused me to get a black eye, but he always, you know, was like, oh, it's an accident. And I was like, oh yeah. At the time, I just kind of was, you know, I just brushed it off.
What trash, man.
Looking back now, I feel like that was kind of the start of him testing my boundaries, if that makes sense.
An important thing to note here is that while Emiru brought receipts for some of the allegations, many had...
I will say, if you're ever in a situation where someone's testing your boundaries like that, that is such a red flag. Because the more you let them get away with, the more they know they can do without you speaking up. So you have to be loud about it, like really loud.
No other proof besides her words, which makes sense. After all, she wasn't living her life expecting to someday need a catalog of evidence to defend herself publicly.
At the moment.
Now, this would have given Mizkif a way to defend himself by labeling most of Emiru's claims as nothing more than the lies of a bitter ex. That is, until the internet took it upon themselves to prove the allegations. And the evidence they discovered against Mizkif was...
Literally every clip on the internet. Every clip.
Overwhelming to say the least. For instance, someone dug up an old screenshot of Emiru's stream as she was switching between different apps on her computer, where one of the applications showed what looked like a close-up shot of her face showing a black eye. This screenshot was taken back in May 2023, while she was still in a relationship with Mizkif. Another leaked screenshot from that time also showed her telling her friends about the black eye, writing, "I got a black eye a week or two ago and it's finally almost gone." And while there's no way to prove that this was the same incident she talked about in her recent stream, the timeline does match up. But that's not all. People discovered a clip of Mizkif getting angry and throwing stuff at Maya, who was his girlfriend before Emiru.
I'm not talking to him today.
Well, nobody asked you to, so.
I'm not talking to him.
Okay.
Look at her face. She's so uninterested.
She said no.
Maya unimpressed. That's what that was.
2 Starbucks bags of Starbucks I got you over the past few days.
Oh my god.
If that was
Throw it back.
funny.
Throw it
Yeah,
back.
that better be.
Every clip of him is so scary.
Oh my god, I would beat the shit out of him.
We're live.
We're live.
As a commenter on Reddit puts it, he's going to need insane levels of receipts to clear his name from all of this. Though that might not be enough, considering everything so far is only about the first major allegation Emiru raised against him. Mizkif's behavior became a whole lot worse when he got accused of covering for his roommate and fellow streamer Crazy Slick, after he allegedly essayed another streamer named Adriana Lee. OTK hired a third party to investigate the situation, eventually exonerating Mizkif, stating that the Investigations Council did not find direct evidence that Mizkif attempted to minimize or cover up essay as alleged. And as you might imagine, many did not believe this report one bit, writing things like, "We investigated ourselves and found out nothing happened." And surprise, surprise, OTK hired a lawyer doesn't find OTK member at fault. Regardless of what the outcome of that situation was, the backlash from around the internet made Mizkif even more bitter and angry, making his treatment of Emiru even worse.
He never wanted to stream at the same time as me. Like, we really avoided it. The first time that we ever streamed at the same time was for the 2024 Rust Kingdoms event on Twitch. Like I said, you can go find all of this. This is public. There are clips of this. We're both streaming the Rust event, and I thought it was going really well. I thought everyone was having fun. I was like, oh, this is great. Everyone's, you know, doing the same thing at the same time. We're all hanging out. You know, we're gonna have fun. Like, I was really, really excited.
I will say, as someone who used to have someone just like that, again, not comparing whatever I've went through with her, when someone doesn't want to stream at the same time as you, it's just because of their viewership, right? And I think that if you're ever in a relationship and for some reason, even if your partner ends up doing something better than you, I think it's a celebration, because at the end of the day, guess what? Both of you eat. You know what I mean? You both grow. It doesn't matter. So I feel like it's even worse that she was in a relationship. This was causing like problems. I used to have this with a friend, right? But even worse in a relationship, for your career to be the main reason why you're being so mean.
And then I start seeing in my chat people start saying unofficial Miz raid, and I'm like, what does that mean? And then I check my Discord messages, and he's messaging me. He's saying like, Emmy, you know, I waited, or I'm gonna KMS, I waited so long for this, etc. Basically he was upset because I had higher viewership than him. That's literally it. I had higher viewership than him. And like I said, this is during an event.
Him getting upset over Emiru having a higher viewership might sound a bit too petty to be real.
I mean, that mustache is enough to tell you a story.
Discovered, insecurity over his viewership numbers has been a running theme in Mizkif's career.
Doing sponsors at my desktop.
You had 7,000 viewers when you were playing the Crane game.
I had 14,000 this morning IRLing at the nonprofit.
Okay, I didn't need to hear that.
He gets upset when I succeed.
No, okay. I used no. I used to get upset. I'm not kidding you, chat. I used to legitimately get fucking pissed.
You notice the posture here? Look, I might be socially awkward, but the way he puts himself is so threatening. Like the way he's like talking, the way he's leaning over, make himself taller. That shit's scary. I feel like I can tell when somebody's being really scary.
Because I'm like, are you fucking serious? I brought this bitch into the world, and now all of a sudden she's fucking growing faster than I was.
See that? That's not even something funny to say. It doesn't even matter if you like brought someone into something, right? He's just taking advantage of the fact that he did bring somebody into it, but it's taking all the credit.
I had 14,000 this morning IRLing at the nonprofit.
Okay, I didn't need to hear that.
He gets upset when I succeed.
No, okay. I used to.
Instantly a liar. I didn't need to hear that. This guy makes me so mad. Literally mad because she was succeeding. Literally is what just happened in front of her eyes, but he's a liar.
Most people at the time assumed that he was just playing up his jealousy as a joke, when in reality, those might have been his real feelings.
No, that's how he truly felt.
As a viewer puts it, people thought he was jokingly being an a-hole, but he really is just an a-hole. Veil has been lifted. And if emotionally manipulating his girlfriend by threatening to himself wasn't bad enough, he still found a way to take it even further.
He ended his stream, and then I'm still live, you know, trying to act like nothing's wrong. And in that house, I had a glass door so I could like see this was happening.
Oh, yikes.
He was walking behind me. He starts walking behind my stream and slamming the door so loud that my noise gate can pick it up. So even people on my stream are able to hear this is happening.
Yikes.
And he slams it so hard and so many times that the front door literally broke. The lock did not work anymore.
Upon hearing this, people went back to Emiru's stream from that day, and things played out exactly as she described.
No.
From him getting visibly upset by Emiru reaching higher viewership than him,
Do it, dude. We'll join the resistance.
Bro has 19,000,
Yeah, my
by the
bad.
way.
to slamming the
Are we
door loud enough to
serious?
startle Emiru multiple
Why do we make
times.
the wrong people famous, you know? Me next. 19,000 and he's complaining. What? Sorry, it's insane to me. I can be full-time if we reach 1K, you know? Just 1K. I'll be fully functional, you know? I'm chronically ill. I can barely smash doors in, please. What is that? Dude, what a terrible guy.
Listen, why are we all acting like we haven't murdered? Like we haven't pillaged? She was coming after me.
But as bad as this was, it paled in comparison
Wow.
to what came afterwards.
He would destroy furniture in front of me. He would throw things in front of me and near me. Destroy walls. Again, you can go see this in some of his VODs in his bedroom. The holes in the wall. There would be times where he was upset at me.
This is the
and
greed
I
they
would
talk
go to my
about in the
stream
Bible
room
chat.
and literally lock myself in to get away from him. And he would be banging on the door and screaming at me. And then at home,
I don't know why this guy has a platform
like,
still.
I'd be trying to sleep and he would scream at me and say that it was all my fault that he felt insecure. There was a time that I walked into a room that he was in, and as soon as he saw me there, he threw his phone at the dresser and started yelling because I had posted a YouTube video within the same couple of days as him, and mine was doing better.
Emiru also recounted another incident where he was upset over Mr. Beast collabing with another
Oh my
streamer and
God.
not inviting him. And instead of dealing with his emotions like a sane adult, he began driving at obscene speeds with Emiru in the passenger seat, while threatening to end everything.
Are we serious? I don't know how someone can get to a level of fame like that, have all of the things in their life in their grasp, still want more, and still want to ruin people's lives. This makes me so mad. I just hope justice is served, and I'm sorry that Emiru had to go through this. This makes me so upset. Could not ever believe going through this with somebody. That's actually so upsetting.
He was on his phone and he saw that Mr. Beast had put out a video, and Mr. Beast had invited another streamer, and he was like, oh, Mr. Beast invited this guy to his video, not me. And I was like, oh, well, you know, like, huh?
I
Yeah,
wouldn't invite
guess
you
so.
either.
Which led to him going 150 miles per hour in the car and talking about himself while doing it.
What makes this even worse is that people found an older clip of Maya describing the same behavior from one of her ex-boyfriends.
Anyway, there's something about being trapped in a car with an angry, aggro man that is like the absolute most helpless thing. Dude, I did a guy that would go like 100 miles an hour on the, like we would fight in the car, which was never my decision. Like it just always
Nah,
like,
this is straight up
happened. Like, we
evidence.
just would like fight in the car and then he'd go like 100. And I would like literally like beg him to slow down. I'd be so scared and I'd cry, and then he would not slow down until I apologized.
And while Maya didn't mention
That's so
Mizkif by
scary.
name in this clip, given the similarities with what Emiru described, most people are certain she was talking about him. Emiru eventually found the courage to break up with him and moved to her own house. A week after their breakup, Mizkif asked if he could come over and talk things out for the sake of closure.
No,
and
no.
that's when the most serious accusation Emiru brought
All of
up
a sudden
against
you want to
Mizkif
talk about
happened.
it.
So yeah, we were just talking and I was crying a lot. He started to try to comfort me by hugging me while I was sitting on the couch and holding me really close to him. And when this was happening, we hadn't talked in quite a while, and I'm usually very uncomfortable with being touched a lot by people that I'm not in a relationship with. But I let him hold me while I was crying. And he started kissing me in my face, and I let him do it. I still saw him a lot.
God, what a douchebag.
Suddenly, He tried to climb on top of me and aggressively shoved his hand down my pants.
Fortunately, he did back off after the scream, but instead of apologizing or checking if Emiru was okay, he somehow made it all about himself.
And instead of apologizing or checking if I was okay, he said, "I feel weird now. I feel like I did something wrong. I have to go." And he immediately left my house while I was still crying, without checking if I was okay or anything.
Near the end of her stream, Emiru also showed the over 40 instances of him trying to contact her in the months after their breakup, trying to convince her to get back together, all while knowing full well that she didn't want anything to do with him anymore. The whole thing made him look like a creep who couldn't accept that Emiru was done with his toxicity and abuse. As her viewers noted, Miz thought maybe she'll finally reply after this 39th attempt.
Why would you think that when someone's crying, you'd lead to doing stuff like that? Oh my god.
My god, this man is ultra creepy. She probably gets enough of that shit from the creeper fans on the daily. Awful she had to experience it from the person she was supposed to be able to trust the most. This behavior is also likely why Emiru felt like she had to get a restraining order against Mizkif for her own safety.
Like I said before, people aren't stupid. I think it's pretty clear that a lot of people knew that things were happening, and like I said, you have to remember, it's not just me. A lot of people, they have their own, grievances with him. For the people who did know about this, thank you for being there for me through all of this and supporting me and cheering me on. And there were a lot of people as well who, even though they didn't know anything, without asking any questions, they still were very kind and supportive, and I will always remember that for the rest of my life. I also want to say, just so people know, that I'm not just trying to put this out there and then, I am already in the process of filing a restraining order on him.
By the time Emiru ended her stream, the internet had turned against Mizkif, and understandably so. And with the evidence she had shown on stream, plus everything the internet had dug up, Mizkif didn't seem to have much room left to deny anything. Many even expected him to either go dark for a long time or quit streaming altogether. But to their surprise, Mizkif was live with his response just hours after Emiru shared the allegations. What surprised people even more, however, was the way he began the stream. He didn't start with an apology or the somber tone usually associated with content creators responding to serious allegations. Instead, Mizkif began the stream with a threat to everyone else, claiming that he will go demon time.
Oh yeah, so literally after being a dickhead and being called out and having so much evidence on him, again, it doesn't make him look good at all. Would I want him to expose some people? That's fine, I wouldn't mind that. But at the end of the day, to go, oh, I'm gonna expose everyone else now because I'm in deep trouble,
and expose all the dirt he has on other creators.
Expose everything, bro. It's time to go full demon time. It's clearly obvious at this point. It's full demon time. Why not? It is time to go full demon time. Just letting you know, there is no holding back. Who cares anymore? I will expose everything about every person that you've ever known, and it is time to go full demon time.
Now, there is no way to know for sure why he felt it was necessary to declare this before talking
and
about
the reason why he's doing this, by the way, is because he can't have his fame, because he can't have his job. Literally, he's like, okay, well now I'm gonna take it away from everybody else because I got f***ed up. So again, all he really cared about was views. All he cared about was being popular. Whenever he had somebody close by who did better than him, obviously got to him.
But as one viewer puts it, maybe he did so to deter creators from making any statements on the controversy, writing, "His opening sounds more like a warning for any other creator who wants to join the topic or make any statement." That said, his actual response to the allegations wasn't much better either. He started by outright denying the allegations of throwing stuff at her, claiming that he never intended to hit her with the water bottles or his phone.
That doesn't matter though. I think that regardless, I feel like it's still threatening, right? That's still abuse.
She brushed over that I threw water bottles or my phone near her, but that wasn't during fights. I want to make that very clear. It would be me throwing my phone on my bed when I brushed my teeth. She did tell me she got a bruise from it, and I stopped. That's all that happened. I will throw you and show you an example, chat. I'm brushing my teeth right here. Look at me.
Why are you still throwing shit though?
I would just lob it over because I was going to bed. So I would just throw the phone. That's the whole thing. I didn't throw it at her. I want to make that very clear. I never threw it at her. I never hit her. And she even said in her situation that she bruises easily. She brushed over that I threw water bottles with her on my phone near her, but that wasn't during our fights. It would be throwing my phone on my bed when I brushed my teeth. She did tell me she got bruises from it, and I stopped.
With neither side offering any direct proof, this would have been a situation where it was his word against hers.
I actually don't.
That is, if
why is he? I think it's just because he's with OTK. Again, I'm not too deep into Twitch lore, but I'm guessing it's just because he was there when Twitch was growing. You know what I mean? And when you're first there, you're most likely to grow from it.
Ned didn't find evidence of him throwing stuff at his previous girlfriend, just as Emiru described he did to her. Not to mention the fact that he conveniently glossed over Emiru getting a black eye from one of the things he allegedly threw at her. That said, he did admit to having a lot of fights with Emiru, but also prefaced it with the excuse that the situation got so bad only because he was under a lot of stress from the SA cover-up allegations.
As this time happened, I was a massive wreck. Couldn't think straight, and
because I was sad, because I was going through things, I took it out on somebody else, and that's why you shouldn't be mean to me.
And being that Emiru hung out with me all day,
dickhead,
she too started to become high-strung. We would yell at each other, fight, and argue all the time.
For a second, it looked like he was going to admit his wrongdoings.
I do not see a reason why he's popular now, but I do think that there's so much evidence against him online. I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
To take responsibility. However, immediately after that, he began talking about how Emiru neglected her pet rabbits and left them.
I'm not really PR, but if you want to say something about your mental health while doing something terrible, just be like, hey, I was also going through something terrible, but that does not excuse what I did. You know, that would be helpful. But he's never going to say that, obviously.
Emiru has a lot of rabbits. It was her calling when she first moved in. These were a big part of her life. But as those rabbits moved out of her room and into the living room, they started to see disgusting neglect. No food, no water, sometimes not having...
And because he's being threatened, he starts saying something that I don't know is true or not, obviously. But he starts saying that Emiru had bunnies and she didn't take care of them. And he pulls up some videos that I can't even tell if they're real or not.
Clean bedding for weeks. I, along with many others who would come over, would give them what they needed, and I would tell her all the time to take care of them, but to no avail.
Even showing a video of just how dirty one of her rabbit's cages was. An important thing to note here is that Emiru already knew he would bring up her rabbits to make her look like a bad person, and even mentioned it in her original stream.
At TwitchCon, he approached one of my employees, threatening them.
Does anyone know if the bunny's alive? As somebody who learned about bunnies quite a bit from my sibling, is the bunny still alive? Question mark.
Saying if I ever talked about him, he would destroy me. Multiple people have told me that his plan was to claim that I kill animals and that I
gave them
my own rabbits, since I had several of my rabbits pass away over the course of 3 years while I lived with him.
Streamer I Keep It Taco also posted a lengthy statement.
But if she has depression, sometimes people struggle a little. That doesn't mean she abuses her animals. Real.
Defending Emiru and debunking the claims Mizkif made against her in his response. But we'll get to that later. For now, even if we assume everything Mizkif said was true, her mistreating her pet rabbits doesn't nullify the accusations she made against him, including the stuff about him controlling everything about her life, from what she wore to when she streamed. Mizkif's justification for this behavior was only that he did so to keep her safe from stalkers.
I don't think she's the type to do it either.
In regards to being controlling, I told her many things. I told her to dress older, to stop wearing pajamas, to stop talking about stalkers and schizos as a whole, stop talking about past relationships, and yes, I didn't want her to travel without me.
So basically, stop talking about what people talk about. That's very odd to tell somebody.
I also said that I didn't want her to hang out with specific people. This is because I didn't want her to get hurt.
Once again, even if we give him the benefit of the doubt and assume that his intentions were just as noble as he claimed, trying to control who she talked to online or IRL is still a step too far in most people's eyes.
By the way.
But then, Mizkif made perhaps the most odd confession of this entire response, implying that Emiru was just as violent as him. In his words, he broke doors and punched holes through walls, while Emiru threw plushies at him.
I'm ashamed that the situations got so bad, but Emmy was also violent. She would throw clothes or plushies at me, and I punched holes in the walls or
literally throwing the most non-lethal things ever. But you're over here throwing your phone and water bottles, which can actually hurt someone. Okay, buddy, this is so weird to me. And to be fair, just because you started the abuse and for someone to crack under pressure and start throwing shit back doesn't make you the victim too. Does that make sense? That shit will piss me off, where somebody who's dealt with it for so long cracks or gets upset or like does something similar to what you were doing just because you started that whole dude, it just gives them an excuse to run away from what they were doing.
Flip-flopped between him admitting that he was in a bad mental state during their relationship.
As for what happened with me and
It
Emiru,
doesn't even matter, dude. Your mental health is important, but not important enough for you to treat your partner like shit. The whole point of them to be there is just to make sure you're all right, okay? But the moment you start acting irrationally and being a dickhead is not, you can't blame it on that. I don't even know why people get into relationships if they're gonna act like this.
I mentally have been fucked up for years.
And trying to justify his actions in odd ways.
Did you really drive 150 miles an hour? I'm gonna say this very clear. If you know me in Austin, Texas, I drive fast everywhere. I drive fast literally everywhere.
As for the SA allegation...
What kind of response was that? I drive fast. Anyone who knows me, I drive fast.
Mizkif had a very different retelling of what transpired that day.
We broke up for about a month, then got back together because we thought we can make it work. We went to get food at BJ's, a common place where we would get food, and then we went back to her house. We cuddled for about 30 minutes and started to kiss. She said that she was okay with this on her stream, and I started to advance to the next stage because I thought that's what she wanted. She yelped, and I immediately sprung up and was scared if I did anything wrong, or did wrong in general.
I think that this is something that commonly happens when you're not on the same page as someone, especially if you're in a relationship, but you could have done your best to apologize and say how you didn't mean to cross their boundaries. But instead of doing that, you ran away, which was interesting. That doesn't show that you were sorry.
And left the house.
No.
I apologize if that made anyone
I do not think scripts are a bad thing. I would use a script. And the reason why is because I am terrible at gathering words. Just like how sometimes when I'm reacting, I can't react properly. I think it's helpful to get what your points. Even Emiru was reading a script at the time to help her get through each topic. Not a full script, I don't believe, but you know.
Not saying sorry, and I wish I said sorry back then.
In his version, he framed the encounter as a date of sorts, and made no mention of her crying while this was all going on. That is a small but important detail that reframes the whole situation, and without any solid evidence, we can't be 100% sure on who is telling the truth. Though the general sentiment online is almost entirely in Emiru's favor. Mizkif seems to be aware of this too, saying that he'll stand up for himself since he has nothing left to lose.
Can you clarify what, if anything, was said to her team at TwitchCon? I said that if she goes after me, then I will go nuclear. And that is exactly what I said. And that is what's going to happen. Because you can't mess with me anymore. I don't have anything to lose. I'm sorry I don't. I'm going to stand up for myself in a lot of these situations because a lot of it was not true. And I don't like that she was portraying that it was just me who was at fault. It was a toxic relationship, and that's what it was.
And that was the gist of his argument, that the two were equally responsible for everything bad.
But in times like these, when there's not a lot of evidence, obviously it is hard for anybody to believe who and what and where. But because there's so much stuff stacking on this man right here, there's no way I could ever feel bad for him. I can't believe him. He's also had previous relationship problems, and it happened again. There's signs, okay? There is signs.
That is until a few hours after the response stream.
That's why
ended,
whenever I see other couples doing drama online and they like just say, like, again, I get a lot of random documents I see on Twitter and it's like, oh, this person did this, this person did that. And it ends in people, it's a he said, she said situation. That's why it's stressful. This Mizkif is in the wrong. 100%.
Arguing with viewers in the offline chat.
Literal
and now
proof.
He had a brand new reason for his bad behavior: drugs. Stating things like, I've been in therapy for almost a year, been working on myself, and I want to continue doing so. I'm not going to go back to the place I once was. I was suicidal, depressed, and taking every type of drug possible.
Okay, if he said something about this before, I wouldn't dog on him about this, but if this is something he's saying right now, that's a little annoying. To suddenly be like, I've been in therapy, I've been getting, you know, I'm on pills right now, all this other stuff. I feel like saying it now is such a weird cop-out, you know what I mean? Right now, it just seems like he's naming it to, you know, get empathy points.
To short-term fix my brain, and in doing that, I hurt myself more. I was on steroids because I thought it would fix myself. I was taking shrooms every day to fix my brain, but that destroyed me. I tried acid and that backfired. In doing that, I know I effed up so bad and hurt so many people around me.
Doesn't matter.
I was angry and out of my mind. I did take steroids that gave me insane anger issues. Which begs the question, if substance abuse was such a prominent reason behind his toxic behavior, why didn't he bring it up during his initial response? Is any of this even true, or is he just finding something else besides?
Like, that's why I feel like you should be real. You know, if you were going through all that stuff, you should have been saying that to your chat. You should have been talking about it on Twitter, or talking about how you're trying to get sober, anything like that. But to bring it up now just makes no sense.
Himself to blame for his destructive actions. Maybe we'll find out in the near future. In the meantime, people on the internet have been digging up even more clips of him mistreating Maya.
Do you like my setup?
Shut up. Excuse me. Don't talk to me like that, Matthew. Sorry, Maya. No, it's not funny. Every time you do it, it bothers me. It's just me.
This is him reenacting the same conversation they have together, by the way, every time she gets upset at him. The fact that he knows the sentence itself is so insane to me. If someone says they don't like it, you don't do it anymore, even if you think it's a joke afterwards.
Because it's funny, Maya. It's just me trolling. I don't even realize I say it.
On multiple occasions.
Oh, there he is. He's
Loser.
Third place.
Hey, that's third place. That's third place.
Loser.
third place.
Loser. Second loser.
Matt, if you broke that headset, you are DMing Shroud right now.
And making Emiru cry on stream. And as we briefly went over earlier, I Keep It Taco also put out a statement defending Emiru and debunking Mizkif's claims that she neglected her rabbits, writing, "Emily has been one of my best friends for 10 years. At first, I thought this wasn't needed, but it's insane to me to see that people are actually calling her an animal abuser or bun killer on here the past few days and stating it as a fact. She goes way beyond for her pets, and in my—
I'm telling you right now, it takes 1 or 2 days for a bunny cage / area to get nasty. Do you guys realize how much they poop? It does not take too much for you to get to that stage. They poop a lot, and I mean they make a mess. The food, whatever you have to have a feeder, and even sometimes if your feeder doesn't have a catcher with hay, if you're buying hay, whatever you're buying, pellets, they'll make a mess of it. They'll bury themselves into it. It's insane. They're bunnies. I feel like all he did was just take a video of like maybe 1 or 2 days worth of like not cleaning it and calling her an abuser. That's what I think. Because I have a bunny. It's not my bunny, it's my sister's, but I get to see the whole setup and I get talked about the whole bunny thing. We have an actual bunny. I think a lot of you guys haven't seen it because I don't really post about it too often.
So easy to refute. To me, he often seems to avoid accountability. He has always come off as highly inauthentic. I personally suspect the cage was recorded after she left back in early July 2024 and kept in case it could be used against her later. Seeing his decision to share the video now instead of back then, it seems to me he may have filmed and kept the video for leverage. What actually happened, to the best of my knowledge, Emily left the cage behind because she was moving out to a new house alone and took her buns with her. It made no sense for her to clean the cage that week. She was focusing on moving away from a bad environment ASAP, and she planned to buy a new one for the new place.
There you go.
He then went on to explain that the cage in Mizkif's photo looked extra dirty because Emiru felt no reason to clean it as she was in the process of moving out. I Keep It Taco also emphasized—
it literally tells you, look, you'll end up cleaning it multiple times every day, every week. Most owners do it once or twice a week. It's normal for there to be poop. The poop is very dry, so it doesn't have any smell. There's no inherent issue with this. Rabbits poop 200 to 300 pellets a day, and people clean it once or twice a week. 200 to 300. So multiply that by like 6 days, okay?
I Keep It Taco also emphasized just how much Emiru cared for each one of them. When one of her rabbits passed away due to pre-existing health conditions, she immediately ended her stream and drove 3 hours to the nearest vet hospital that was still open on a Sunday, and that many of her rabbits died early because they had poor genetics, stating a few of her original buns later on—
that goes for cats and bunnies. A lot of animals have poor genetics. There's a lot of animals with poor genetics because, again, they're all running around.
Were learned to have very poor genetics due to the breeder she got them from years ago, pre-2017/2018.
I feel like it depends on the purebreds.
We didn't learn this till the buns bred later on in their lives, and we learned it over time. Emily has cared for multiple bunnies over the years. If they had any medical issue or were found to have a birth defect, she'd spend thousands of dollars to give them the best care as fast as possible. She tried to give her bunnies the fullest and longest lives possible, even when she was told it wasn't worth it financially. This was before she got into streaming too, and she is the same way now. They're not an accessory as some people try to imply on this site.
Oh my god, that's terrible. What?
It is hard to believe an animal abuse— do this. With Taco's detailed statement backing Emiru and countless people with real rabbit care experience siding with him in the replies, Mizkif's argument is starting to look extremely flaky.
Yeah.
The majority of people wouldn't be surprised if he mostly made up the animal neglect narrative as a form of blackmail against Emiru. Combine that with his shifting story about why he was so toxic in the relationship, and things aren't looking good for Mizkif. He's been ousted from OTK, and unless he's able to definitively prove that Emiru either lied or greatly exaggerated many of her serious accusations, he likely won't be accepted back into the greater streaming community anytime soon. On the other hand, if Emiru's allegations are proven to be true, Mizkif also risks getting banned from Twitch and other platforms as well. Even if he isn't banned and is allowed to continue streaming, the backlash from this controversy would follow him for the rest of his career.
Whatever the outcome might be, it doesn't look like
he's made like millions of dollars, dude. I do not care about whether or not his career survives. I really don't. If for some reason you don't have money by the end of that career, you did not care about your future. I'm just saying. Sorry for having a strict opinion, but like I don't feel bad for him if it happens.
Going down without a fight. As I was writing this video, he apparently filed a defamation lawsuit against Emiru and Asmongold. Though after analyzing the contents of this lawsuit, many legal experts expect him to suffer a humiliating loss that will only further ruin his reputation. Legal Mindset, for example, posted about the case on Twitter, stating, "Mizkif is going to lose this lawsuit so hilariously. I will need to supersize my popcorn for this one. He has opened himself up to complete reputational destruction while suffering the pain of discovery and legal fees." That being said, the situation could still flip on its head depending on the evidence he's able to present in court. Only time will tell. And if you want to stay updated, make sure you subscribe and click the video on screen.
I am internet anarchist. I am. Anyways, I don't know why that man was on my screen. One of the biggest issues I think that should be attacked is domestic abuse, and any sort of abuse you get from a person, whether it's a friend or from a relationship. I feel like it is important to say something, and hopefully, you're being honest and truthful about it. I wonder how Maya feels after like being validated even more about what happened. I don't understand why people don't like collectively see the signs. I don't even watch him. Okay, I don't even know what he's a part of. I know he's a part of OTK because that's what they said in the video. And like a lot of older streamers were there when it first started, when Twitch first started. I forgot when was Twitch made? Because for whatever I know, you're a terrible human being and you've got a really shiny purple badge next to your name because 2011. Yeah, 2011. It was very recent. Twitch was made, and yeah, no, that's rough. I don't want to ever go through that. I'm good. I don't want to like fall in love with someone just for them to like treat me like trash. Makes me worried about things. I'm not gonna lie. I don't want to do that or find out, I don't know.